Welcome back everyone. I am super excited to finally have the chance to open my new Mikazuki Munechika from Touken Ranbu 1/8 scale, I want to say? No, 1/7 scale figure. This is by Orange Rogue and it is the awakened version. So if you've seen my previous reviews of the last figure that was made of him, the last one was just his standard pose, the one you would see in the game when he's talking to you. This would be the animated version of it. He was a little pricey. I decided to pre-order him instead of getting him secondhand from someone else, but I do not regret that at all. He looks amazing and I'm ecstatic to finally have him. So without further ado, let's get this unboxing started. So for this review, I'm not going to go into that much detail because I feel like I'm going to repeat myself a lot. It is by the same company. The box looks amazing. You can see all this detail around it, and I will give you guys close-ups in a later part of the video. But for now, to get the talking part out of the way, I just want you guys to see that it's metallic on each side. The bottom is the same way. I'm sorry, the bottom is not the same way, but it has the licensing information for the company who made this. It is Orange Rogue, which is a subsidiary of Good Small Company. And it's a little banged up right now because it's been on my shelf. Super dusty, but I could not open him until I got a chance to film it. So here is the front side of his box. I love the holographic detailing that they added, especially the metallic sheen to his symbol. And the petals, it looks so amazing. And then the close-ups on the side of the box are so awesome. And then, of course, in the back, we have the full view of what he's supposed to look like. So amazing. And then the full view on the side. Oh, so beautiful. Okay, so I'm opening him from the bottom. It's much easier to do that than cutting the top. So the bottom has this blue color, really nice, looks like water. And it's not pearlescent, but it kind of looks like it is. It's a little hard to describe. Then we have the instructions on how to put him together. I've heard his sword is a little finicky, so I'm slightly worried about that, but hopefully it's not as bad as putting together that that free figure that I had to open a while back. Okay, for this part I will have to have scissors because I don't want to mess with the tape. It's just such a pain in the butt to mess with this tape. They have very sticky tape in Japan, apparently. Oh, he looks so pretty. Look at him. So beautiful. Okay, and he comes with his base. Very simple, similar to his other one, except this one has stepping pieces for his feet, since they're not just flat. He's got a lot of plastic around him. Oh gosh. I have heard as well on this one, the tassels are supremely fragile, so I'm going to try and do this in frame, but also not break him right out of the box. Oh gosh, I'm so nervous. He's got a piece of styrofoam in between. And of course I had to stop for the airplane. I'm not really talking much, so it shouldn't matter. But I hate the noise whenever I have to listen to it. Oh my god, he's beautiful. So he's complete. I thought I was going to have to do some assembly other than the sword, but I guess not. Which scares me a little. I kind of prefer if I could just assemble him instead of... Oh my goodness, he's beautiful! Look at him! And then this side part of the blister has his sword, which feels very fragile as well. Very metallic and light. I'll deal with you later. I love how they kept the same detail as the previous figure, with the metallic on his pants. I forgot the Japanese word for this outfit. I think it's hakama? I don't know. It's not kimono. They kept the detail on that part, on his sleeves. It's so dynamic and awesome. Okay. Let's put him on his base and I'll do some close-up shots. The deed is done. Oh my goodness. So he was maybe just as finicky as the Makoto and Haruka figure that I had, only because his feet are actually not properly aligned with the pegs of the base. So I did the warm water method to help the plastic soften out so that I could stretch the feet to fit the pegs. The only problem is the one that has 2 pegs on it for the feet is, I don't know if it's not aligned properly or I'm just not pressing hard enough, but no matter how much I pressed, it would not go all the way down. His front foot right here, I've left a little elevated. I was able to press it all the way down to the base, but because the back foot was not pressed all the way down, the way he would stand would lead forward than probably intended. I didn't want to mess with the way it would stand over time and possibly alter the way it stands by doing that, so I just left it a little elevated to hopefully balance that out. In the near future, I'll probably try again with some warm water to try and press the back foot all the way down, but for now, this will work, at least for this review. The sword was a little finicky, like other people said. The instructions come in both English and Japanese, so English speakers will have a very brief but I guess thorough instructions on how to put the sword in. They do recommend using the warm water method to try and force it in there, which I did, and I managed to put it in there. It went in fairly easily once I put the hand parts in warm water. So I think that's the way to go with this figure. Just use warm water to soften up the plastic. Same thing with taking him off the pegs and removing the sword. Be very careful. There's a lot of people who have said these tassels are very fragile, and I believe them. The golden pieces, like this one right here, do not feel attached to this back flap, so I can see them maybe popping off wherever they're connected to the actual figure. So other than that, let's get to the actual review, because after looking at him thoroughly, I can say that his paint job is amazing. All the details they put into him are awesome. The only weird thing I've noticed is the fact that he does not have a nipple. But that is a common thing with males in anime. I don't know why the Japanese don't want to put a nipple on males, but whatever. So without further ado, let's get started. I have more or less the same things to say about this figure as Mikazuki's previous figures, so I won't be doing much of a voiceover of specific parts because the quality is the same. It'll just be a lot of repeat comments from me. I will point out some issues that I encountered and noticed during and after assembly though. The first one is obviously the feet. His holes did not match with the pegs on the base, but after dunking them in warm water for a minute or so, the plastic softened enough to place him on them. It was a tight fit, so all I can say is to be very careful. The real talking point is the sculpt, which, with its action posing, only accentuates the wonderful paint job and details of this figure. Mikazuki's clothes move in many directions to create a beautiful silhouette from any angle. However, there is cause for concern for the tassels on his clothing. Many collectors upon receiving him experienced broken tassels, either out of the box or during assembly. Unlike the previous figure, whose tassels were laying flat against Mikazuki's body, the ones in this figure are flying in different directions with only a small connection to the rest of the figure. When I tested them, they felt of the same softer plastic, but still fragile. These will be the main details to be careful around. The other concern collectors had was his sword, which is a tight and tedious fit to place in his grip. I thankfully did not experience this problem, but it's something to consider since the sword is a thin and important piece to this figure. Other than that, all the details from the previous figure are present here, with some additional ones such as rips and tears in his clothing and scratches on his skin. His expression beautifully matches his fierce stance and creates a clear picture of a samurai in action.